man.
How's the flight from Washington to here?
I'll tell you this, and I've said this for 2 years. Whenever I get on a plane Monday morning to fly to Washington, I usually have a little frown on my face. When I get on a flight to fly home from Washington, I'm always smiling. I'm always smiling. But it's a short flight. A lot of my colleagues, Republican and Democrat, from California or Washington or Oregon or even Colorado, they've got some long flights. Chicago to DC is pretty easy flight. But yes, we all left yesterday. Did the Senate leave?
I don't think so. Today. No, I think they're leaving today.
They're kept there.
Okay. But look, the House left. There's a lot on our plate. There's a lot that the House and the Senate needs to deal with. There's a lot of, shall we say, bad things that are going to expire at the end of the year. A lot of tax rates that need to be dealt with. Sequestration needs to be dealt with. There's a farm bill that people want dealt with. There's a lot that needs to be dealt with. And yeah, I generally think the way Washington does things tend to kick the can down the road, tend to extend tax rates or other things by 6 months or a year at a time. That's a crazy way to run a business. In fact, it's wrong. And we ought to... I talk to enough people out here who are sick of the temporary way that Washington does things. They just want something permanent. Cut my taxes, make it permanent, and then get out of my hair. That's generally what I hear over and over and over. What else, guys? Yes, sir.
So I've got a question. We were at a financial seminar not long ago, and you're exactly right. They said there's going to be 6 things happen on January 1st, 2013. It's the end of the Bush tax cuts, the sequestration, there's some bonds that Spain is going to default on. Anyway, the whole upshot of this thing, unless Congress does something, they're predicting the stock market could go down up to 45% because of all the things that are going to kick in, and they're talking about putting this country in a recession. Well, what is your thoughts on that?
My thought is this. This country is probably already just about in a recession. If we're not in a recession, it's real close. Think about this, guys. When a politician tells you the unemployment rate is 8.1%, they're lying. They're lying. When you add up all the people who are working part-time because they can't find full-time work, it bumps up to about 13 to 14%. We're not done. When you add up all the people that have quit looking for work because they're so depressed that they've quit looking for work, your government doesn't count them. When you add them up and put them into the pile of the unemployment rate in this country is about 19%. That is almost depression-level unemployment. So, we're already almost in a depression. This country's not working. Americans are dying and struggling out there. And so when Tammy Duckworth says we're better off now than we were 4 years ago, I want to jump up and down and shake and scream. We're not. Washington has a number of things hitting by the end of the year that if we don't get straight, it will make things worse. All the Bush tax rates are due to expire. We'll call them the Bush-Obama tax rates because Obama extended them once as well. The payroll tax cut is due to expire. A number of tax extenders are due to expire. The estate tax is due to raise again and go back up. The capital gains tax is due to go back up. The largest tax increase in our country's history will take effect at the end of the year unless Congress does something. Sequestration's going to kick in. Don't you love that? He asked the question, but he's ordering his breakfast. That comes first. That comes first.
Okay. He's feeding his brain.
Yes. Sequestration will kick into effect at the end of the year unless Congress does something. So yes, to your point, we better figure this stuff out. Now, again, I don't run things in Washington. I'm just a troublemaker freshman. To me, we have to avoid this tax increase. All of these tax rates should be permanently extended. I hope Washington doesn't do what Washington always does, which is extend all these things by another year or even 6 months. How crazy is that? I generally think they should all be extended. The president is on record as saying, if you make $200,000 or more, let the tax rates expire. So the tax rates for those people, he wants to go up. I think that's terrible. I want the tax rates for everybody extended, because if you let the tax rates go up for people who make $200,000 or more, you know who you're impacting?
Everybody.
Small businessmen and women. Small businessmen and women. Most of the people, most small businessmen and women in this country are taxed as individuals. So when you raise taxes on people who make $200,000 or more, you're hitting business owners. And that's the last thing we need to do if we really are in a recession, or let's just be polite. We're certainly really struggling. And the last thing I want to do is raise anybody's taxes. The last thing I want to do is raise anybody's taxes, or raise taxes on anybody out there and here that create jobs, that hire people. Because if we take away more of their money, they won't hire people and they won't grow. And the most important thing in this country right now is putting this country to work, because we ain't working. Americans aren't working.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes, sir.
If that's the case, why did that not work in the 10 years of Bush on the trickle down? How come when all those taxes were, you know, getting the rich as such, how come there was no jobs created? If you say, if you give the tax rate to the top bracket and it raises jobs, well, how come it didn't work? How come we lost all the jobs
Before I
during
answer
Bush?
that, I love that accent. Where are you from?
I'm fine.
Love that. It has worked. It did work. What was the unemployment rate during the Bush administration?
600,000 jobs were being lost.
What was the unemployment rate?
5.5% at the time of Bush's
Huh?
term. 5.5% was the average.
I don't know. Raise your hands if you'd like to get back to a 5.5% unemployment rate.
Yeah.
But that's not true. That's just not true. You can say that. That's not true.
The unemployment rate wasn't 5.5%?
With the end of the
What was the
Bush era, at the
unemployment
end of the Bush era, via Reagan trichonomics, as you call trickle-down economics,
I don't call it
we were
trickle-down
losing.
economics.
We lost. Well, how come we lost 600,000 jobs per month under Bush, and now Obama has stopped that bleeding? At least he stopped the bleeding. That's what he's done. One other question may I ask you on this? Obamacare, you said you would repeal, correct?
In a heartbeat.
Okay, so I have a 23-year-old daughter who's got Crohn's disease. She goes to the doctor now. She's on my insurance. She goes to get a job, and they're going to say, "I'm sorry, we're not going to insure you because you got a pre-existing condition." What do you say to me or my daughter when she cannot get insurance because she's got a pre-existing condition?
Do you live here in Illinois?
I live in Elmhurst, yes.
Okay. Illinois, like about 35 other states, had pre-existing condition coverage well before Obamacare was enacted. Well before Obamacare was enacted. I think it's up to 35 states had pre-existing condition coverage for cases just like your daughter, way before Obamacare.
My daughter does in
My
Nevada.
opposition, and I don't know if Nevada does as well, but 35 states do. My opposition to Obamacare, my friend, is I always want government to be there for people who can't take care of themselves. I don't want this entire country put on government-run health care because we can't afford it, and the quality of care will be terrible. It will lead to rationing. Small businessmen and women tell us Obamacare is probably the #1 reason why they're not hiring people. Doctors are leaving the profession because of Obamacare. With Obamacare, everybody will be moved on to Medicaid. Medicaid is already bankrupt in Illinois, so I don't see a lot of good with Obamacare. I think it will destroy the country. If you like it, I mean, look, none of this.
So therefore, if you are telling me.
Can give you one more.
Well, go ahead, yes, sir.
No, no, keep going.
Well, if you're telling me that, why should someone in the United States of America, I'm looking on it as an outside perspective, even though I live in the United States, why would someone have to die because they can't get insurance or they've got a pre-existing condition anywhere in the United States of America? Why should someone lose their house like has happened so much in the United States of America because of a medical bill? Because they cannot get insurance or because the insurance company says no, they're not going to cover them. So they lose their house for such a massive bill. Why should that happen in America?
Let me ask you a question. Should you have the opportunity to buy a house in this country? Should everybody have the opportunity, if they can, to buy a house? Yes or no?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Do you have the freedom in this country to lose that house? Or should the government not, should the government prevent people from losing homes in this country?
It's not a case of preventing someone from losing a home. It's a case of someone with something beyond their own. Let me finish, sir. Something beyond their own control, i.e., they get terribly sick, they get cancer, they get heart disease, and because the insurance company says, "Oh no, I'm putting a cap on it," or if someone through the recession that we're on loses their job and they're put in a terrible position, not through their own fault, and they lose their house or they lose their life because they don't have health care or because of this. One of the richest countries in the world, and it has some of the worst poverty right now in the world, and you want to just increase that by not having people being able to hold on to their house because of an illness or hold on to their life because of an illness. That's what you're going to destroy. Do you not see that?
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. And this is what
the people that die every year because that happens to them. I wonder would they disagree with you?
We can't live forever.
no,
Oh, nice.
It was Steve.
nobody wants people dying, okay? We all want government to take care of those who can't take care of themselves. I don't want government taking care of everyone else. There are European countries that want government taking care of everybody. And a lot of those European countries right now are beginning to realize they can't afford that. And they can't take care of everybody, and the quality of care is substandard. So yes, I want us to get to a place in this country where our government is there to provide a safety net, to try to prevent people from falling through the cracks, to be a temporary help when somebody loses a job, but not a permanent job, to provide, to make sure that no health catastrophe ruins someone's life. I always want government to be able to be that safety net. The problem with Obamacare is it's the first step toward moving this country toward government-run health care for everybody, and that can't work. We can't afford it, and it will bankrupt this country, and the quality of care it will lead to will destroy what in many cases is a very good healthcare system. So I'm going to stop you, my friend, because you're not dominating
45 million people die, and that's a good healthcare system because of no insurance. And you have insurance companies that are making astronomical profits.
Who's got another question?
Joe, I just want to add to that a little bit. I'm on Medicare.
Yes.
Okay. Now, and I have 2 friends on Medicare. Government run, right? I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Because it's all
For the time being.
right. And I had a friend who went to the doctor and said, she said that she needed an MRI, and he said, there's an other option. Do this. Well, what's the option? Is it going to fix it? No. Will the MRI help? Yes. But it's too expensive. We can't do it. The doctor said that.
Here's what the Republican, if you have a $15,000 voucher, that's what they're going to hand you and say, go find a doctor.
Here's what you have. Here's what we have. This is the issue in this country. We have 10,000 Americans retiring every day. 10,000 Americans retiring every day. And we're not dying when we're 62, thank God. Because of a